Well, as you know, many of those priorities are not things that the Republicans who control the Senate have any interest in. So two questions. Number one, what is the point of passing all this lovely legislation that's just going to die in the Senate?
Well,
but number two, are there areas where you think that you might
well,
be able to reach
agreement? Well, I do
agreement?
think that, to your second point, I think in the area of reducing the cost of prescription drugs, the president said he's interested in doing that. He's supposed to be making this announcement tomorrow, I don't know, but in our conversations and at a staff level and in my conversations with him, I think we can find a path to do that. And in terms of infrastructure in a green way, I don't think, that's never really been partisan. So there are two that I'm very optimistic we could accomplish. And they are our top two: lower healthcare costs by reducing the cost of prescription drug and preserving the pre-existing condition, which the president says he wants to do, building the infrastructure, bigger paychecks by building infrastructure. In terms of the Senate, I quoted Reagan, now I'll quote Lincoln. Public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. Abraham Lincoln. And the fact that we passed the gun safety bill for background checks, 80% of American people support common sense background checks, which we passed. And it's bipartisan. Protecting dreamers, that's popular across the board in our country. We will pass that in the Congress, and that is something I think the Senate has to pay attention to. Violence Against Women Act. I certainly hope that they would pass that without any question. It's long overdue, and it is the right thing for us to do. So I don't think the House of Representatives should say, we're just staying home because the Senate won't pass something, because the president won't sign it. But that's not who we are, and we don't leave it. We never confine ourselves to what might be legislatively possible unless we recognize that the public will weigh in. We just passed in the House the net neutrality legislation, very, very important, especially to young people who understand it so well. Millions of people tuned in. Imagine millions of people tuning in to a session of, with all due respect, C-SPAN committee meeting and then the floor action on it. And they will weigh in on the Senate as well, and we think that public sentiment will help us pass that legislation in the Senate. But if they don't, the public will know, because what we have promised is transparency. This is what it is. This is how you determine how it affects you. Bipartisanship as much as possible. Unity, e pluribus unum. We have to be respectful and try to find as many areas of bipartisanship, find our common ground where we can. We have that responsibility. Stand our ground where we can. That was Thomas Jefferson weighing in. Like a rock where you can't.